On her wedding day, something was taken from her, not in a hospital, not by sickness, not by faith. It happened in a quiet room, minutes before she walked down the aisle. A smile that hid an intention no one saw coming. But what if the problem was never her? What if the person who prayed loudest for her was the one who destroyed her destiny? Hi guys, welcome back to Mystery Echoes. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share. The compound hums before it sings. In a lively Nigerian family compound, buzzing with preparation and expectation, chairs scrape the ground, food simmers in large pots, elders gather, and the air is thick with anticipation. Daniel has arrived with his family to formally begin marriage rites. On the surface, it's a joyful moment, but beneath the celebration lies quiet tension. Daniel steps out confidently, yet visible with nervousness, signaling that this moment carries weight beyond tradition. When Mrs. Eunice, his mother, arrives, her presence immediately alters the atmosphere. She carries herself with calm authority, observing everything and everyone with sharp measuring eyes. Her silence is heavy, unsettling. From a doorway, Elora watches everything unfold. She is hopeful, anxious, and deeply in love. When her eyes meet Daniel's across the compound, there is a reassurance, but also a hint of fear. Elora approaches respectfully, greeting Mrs. Eunice with humility. However, Mrs. Eunice refused to acknowledge her. The rejection is not spoken loud, but it is unmistakable. It stings, and Elora feels it deeply. As the formalities continue, Mrs. Eunice positions herself strategically, watching every move Elora makes. She neither joins the celebration nor offers blessings. Instead, she studies Elora with cold detachment. The elders exchange pleasantries, unaware of the storm quietly forming. Later, away from the crowd, Mrs. Eunice confronts Daniel privately with chilling calmness. She warns him that Elora is not the woman for him and urges him to reconsider the marriage. Daniel is conflicted but does not challenge his mother strongly enough. He listens, hesitates, and ultimately allows the warning to pass without decisive action. Later in the day, Elora visits Mrs. Eunice. Dusk settles slowly over the street. A few lights flicker on in nearby houses. Elora stands at Mrs. Eunice's gate. Inside, Mrs. Eunice's house sits neat and still. Elora walks slowly toward the door. Each step echoes louder than its truth. She stops and lifts her hand. Knock, knock. The door opens almost immediately. Mrs. Eunice stands there, already dressed for the evening. She smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. Elora, she says, "You came." "Yes, ma," Elora replies. "You sent for me." Mrs. Eunice steps aside. "Come in." A clock ticks loudly on the wall, each second distinct. "Sit," Mrs. Eunice says, gesturing to a chair opposite her. "Elora," she says, drawing out the name, tasting it. "Do you know why I asked you to come?" Elora's finger tightened. "No, ma." Mrs. Eunice nodded again, slowly, thoughtful. "I wanted to speak with you woman to woman." The phrase sounds kind. It doesn't feel kind. "You're about to marry my son," Mrs. Eunice continues. "That makes you important." Elora lifts her head slightly. "Yes, ma." "But importance," Mrs. Eunice says, "comes with weight." She lets the word settle. Wait. Elora swallows. My son, she says, is not an ordinary man. Elora nods. I know, ma. He needs peace, Mrs. Eunice says. Stability. A woman who understands her place. The word landed heavy. Elora shifts in her chair, the wood creaking faintly beneath her. I respect Daniel, she says carefully, and I respect you. Mrs. Eunice studies her face for a long moment. Respect, she says at last. It's not always enough. She leans back again, reclaiming distance. There are things, she says, that do not announce themselves immediately. Elora's grip tightens. She senses it now. The shift, the calm before something sharper. Mrs. Eunice looked directly at her. Things that wait. Elora, she says, her voice lowering, smoothing out. I will speak to you clearly now. I told my son already, she continues. I am telling you now, you should not marry Daniel, my son. The clock ticks. Elora's breathing becomes something she has to think about. Ma, she says slowly, carefully, with respect. Daniel and I love each other. Mrs. Eunice's lip curved faintly, not into a smile, not into a frown. Love? She repeats. Yes, love is always what people mention first. She paused, letting the silence stretch again. Love does not protect a woman, she says. It does not shield her from consequences. Elora's chest tightened. I have not done anything wrong. Mrs. Eunice nodded. I did not say you did. Her eyes sharpened, but doing something wrong does not mean nothing wrong will happen. I just know you are not the one for my son, Mrs. Eunice says. I am advising you, Mrs. Eunice says, as a mother, as someone who understands this family. You should step aside, Mrs. Eunice continues. Let my son choose differently. The words are calm, final. Elora looks at the floor for a moment. She draws in a slow breath, then lifts her head again. I'm sorry, ma. Mrs. Eunice watches her closely now. I cannot do that. The refusal hangs between them, delicate and dangerous. You cannot? Mrs. Eunice repeats softly. No, ma, Elora says. Her hands are steady now, resting on her knees. I cannot. Mrs. Eunice exhales slowly. You are very sure of yourself? Elora shakes her head slightly. I'm not, but I'm sure of my decision. Mrs. Eunice's eyes narrow for a fraction. Do you know what it means, she asks, to enter a home where you are not wanted? Elora lifts her chin. Not in defiance, just honesty. I hope, she says, that in time I will be. I respect you, she says, and I will continue to respect you, but I love your son. Mrs. Eunice's gaze drops at Elora's hand, to her posture, to the stillness in her body. So, she says at last, you have chosen. Yes, ma, Elora says. She rises from her chair. Elora stands as well, instinctively, smoothing her skirt again. Mrs. Eunice steps closer, close enough that Elora can smell the faint scent of soap and something sharper beneath it. I have spoken, Mrs. Eunice says quietly. Remember that. She turns away. Elora watches her walk towards the door of the inner room, her back straight, her step unhurried. For a moment, Elora considers saying something else, an apology, a plea, a promise. She says nothing. Mrs. Eunice disappears into the shadow of the hallway. The room feels colder. Elora picks up her handbag, her fingers trembling just slightly now. That moment has passed. She moved toward the door, then stand. Ma, Elora says softly. Mrs. Eunice looks up. Yes, I will do my best, Elora says, to be a good wife, to honor your son. Mrs. Eunice considers her. Then she nods, slowly and measured. See that you do, she replies. Mrs. Eunice steps closer to Elora once more, lowering her voice. She says, remember, every step you take into this family is a step you cannot undo. The words settle into Elora's chest, heavy and cold. Yes, ma, Elora whispers. Mrs. Eunice opened the door for her. Morning light spills into the room in long, pale ribbons. Elora prepares for her wedding in a bright room filled with women, laughter and celebration. Though the atmosphere is joyful, Elora remains subdued, aware of Mrs. Eunice's silent presence and watchful eyes. When Elora is finally helped into her wedding white dress, the moment feels perfect and sacred. As Elora takes her first step toward the ceremony, the dress unexpectedly tears at the waist, throwing the room into panic and chaotic. Before everyone else can react, Mrs. Eunice steps forward calmly and produces a needle and thread, insisting on fixing it herself. The room grows unnaturally quiet as she carefully sews the tear, her movements deliberate and unsettling. Though the dress is restored and the celebration resumes, the act carries hidden weight. Elora feels an unexplained discomfort, but dismisses it as nerves. The seam is closed flawlessly. Elora, someone calls. It is time. Then Elora steps forward into the light and walks down the aisle, unaware that something far more significant than fabric has been sealed. Daniel and Elora's marriage begins quietly in the modest house that becomes their first shared world. When they step inside together for the first time, the house feels empty but expectant, as though it has been waiting for their voices. Elora moves slowly, touching the walls, breathing in the unfamiliar calm, while Daniel watches her with a soft pride that needs no words. The space is simple, just a few pieces of furniture, clean curtains, a neatly made bed, but to them it feels complete because it is theirs. In those early days, their lives settle into gentle routine. Morning arrives softly, with light slipping through the curtains and Elora's rising before Daniel to explore the kitchen, learning where everything belongs. She cooks carefully, humming to herself, while Daniel watches from the doorway, amused by how quickly she makes the house feel lived in. There is affection in the smallest gestures. Yet, beneath this warmth lies an unspoken fragility. The joy feels real, but delicate, like glass held up to the light. The audience sense what the couple cannot, that something unseen has already touched their marriage. Still, within the walls of their home, Daniel and Elora remain unaware, wrapped in hope, trust, and the quiet belief that love alone is enough. The season begins quietly, almost beautifully. There is no announcement, no deliberate decision spoken aloud. Yet, hope quietly settles into Daniel and Elora's home. It shows itself in small ways, in the way Elora pauses before drinking tea, in how her hand sometimes rests on her stomach without her noticing, in the way Daniel studies her face a little longer than before, searching for signs he does not yet understand. Elora starts paying closer attention to her body. She marks dates carefully, not obsessively, just enough to feel prepared. She notices changes that may or may not mean anything and hold onto them anyway. When she feels tired, she smiles to herself. When certain smells turn her stomach, she keeps it quiet, afraid to speak too soon. Hope feels fragile, and she handles it quietly and gently. Daniel Daniel shares in his unspoken anticipation. He does not press her with questions, but his affection deepens. He wraps his arm around her from behind while she washes dishes. When the word children finally finds its way into conversation, it comes softly without urgency. And when he tells her she will be a good mother, Elora has to turn away to hide how deeply the words move her. But time keeps moving. 1 month passes, then another. Each time, hope rises quietly, then falls, just as quietly. Elora learns how to smile through disappointment, how to reassure Daniel before he even asks. It will happen, she tells him, her voice steady. We just need time. She says it often, enough that it begins to sound like a promise she must keep. Daniel believes her or wants to. Still, questions begin to form in the spaces between their conversation. He watches Elora retreat into herself after each disappointment. Notice how she grows quieter afterward. More careful, the house does not feel empty, but it doesn't feel as full as it once did either. Eventually, the idea of seeing a doctor surfaces. Daniel brings it up gently, choosing his words with care, afraid of hurting her. Elora agrees immediately, too quickly, as though she has already been carrying the thoughts alone. Her smile does not quite reach her eyes when she says it's fine. The hospitals becomes part of their routine. White rooms, neutral voices, polite reassurance that offer comfort without certainty. Elora endures examinations with quiet dignity, gripping the edge of the bed, answering questions calmly. Daniel waits outside, watching doors open and close, feeling helpless in a way he never was before. When they return home after each visit, they talk less, not because they are angry, but because they don't know what to say. The silence stretches. Daniel begins to withdraw slightly, lost in thought. He doesn't voice. Elora noticed immediately. She always does, and instead of confronting it, she turns the blame inwardly, convincing herself that she is failing him in one way that seems to matter most. Waiting is no longer gentle, it has become heavy. The hope that once felt light now presses down on them both, reshaping their marriage in subtle, painful ways. Love is still there, but it is quieter, strained by uncertainty and unspoken fear. And beneath it all, something unseen continues to hold its grips, tightening as they wait for an answer that does not come. The change does not arrive suddenly. It slips in quietly, wearing the familiar face of concern. Daniel begins visiting his mother more often. At first, Elora does not question it. Mrs. Eunice has always been present, always involved, but these visits feel different. They last longer. Daniel returns home quieter, his thoughts somewhere else. In Mrs. Eunice's sitting room, Mrs. Eunice speaks softly. A man needs stability, she says one afternoon, folding her wrapper neatly. A home needs children, she had another. Her tone thoughtful, but accusatory. Daniel listens. He doesn't argue, he tells himself she is only worried. Mrs. Eunice never mentions Elora directly at first. Instead, she talks about tradition, about legacy, about what people will say when years pass and the house remains quiet. She speaks as though discussing weather, something inevitable beyond anyone's control. You are still young, she reminds him gently. Life should not be put on hold. Daniel shifts in his seat. Elora and I are trying, he said. Eventually, Mrs. Eunice stopped cycling the point one evening. She looked directly at her son and speaks plainly. There's no shame in taking another wife, she says. It does not mean you stop loving the first. It only means you are securing your future. Daniel stiffened. I can't do that to her. Mrs. Eunice sighed, as though disappointed but not surprised. You are not doing anything to her. You are doing something for yourself. Daniel does not agree, but he does not walk away. At home, Elora feels the changes before she understands it. Daniel's patience thins. His responses grow short. He comes home later than usual. When she speaks what is wrong, it says her nothing and means it, because he does not know how to name it yet. She tries harder. She cooks his favorite meals. She speaks gently. She gives him space. None of it restores what is slipping away. One evening, Elora walked past the door just as Daniel's phone call ends. She catches one fragment. His mother's voice faints through the receiver. It is only a solution. You cannot keep waiting forever. Elora stops. Her breath catches. She does not hear the rest. She does not need to. The word solution echoes loudly in her chest. For the first time since their marriage, she feels like a stranger in her own home. That night, Daniel lies beside her, silent. Elora lies awake, the space between them suddenly wide, heavy with meaning. Nothing has been said openly. No decision has been announced. But something has shifted. A seed has been planted, one that begins to grow in silence, feeding on doubt, pressure, and blame. Neither of them has spoken. The house is quiet again, but it is not peaceful. Elora bearing the full weight of blame alone. Her marriage still standing in form, but cracked at its core. Love remains, but it is bruised. Strain under pressure it was never meant to carry. And unseen, the true cause of her suffering continued to hide in plain sight, waiting for the moment it will be revealed. By the time Elora walks into the small prayer church, she is no longer searching for explanations, only relief. She sits quietly near the back, surrounded by strangers, her hand folded tightly in her lap. The room is dimly lit. The air is heavy with whispers, prayer, and soft worship songs. No one knows her story here, and for the first time in a very long time, that feels safe. She has come alone, carrying years of confusion, blame, and silent tears. When the prophetess enters, she does not announce herself loudly. She walks in slowly, calmly, as though guided rather than hurried. Her presence shifts the atmosphere almost immediately. The worship fades into prayer, and the room grows still. The prophetess begins to speak, not in shouting, but in clarity. She calls out her hidden struggles, private pains, secrets no one has shared aloud. One by one, people respond in tears and shock. Elora listens, uneasy, her heart beating faster with each word. Then the prophetess stops. She turns and looks directly at Elora. "You," she says gently. Elora freezes, her breath catches in her throat. The prophetess speaks again, revealing details of Elora's life, her marriage, her waiting, her tears at night, the accusations she has been carried quietly. Each word lands with precision, stripping away Elora's composure. Tears spill freely now. There's no denying it. This is her story, being spoken by a stranger. Then the prophecy shifts. The prophetess described a wedding day, a white wedding and a white dress, a sudden tear at the waist, a needle and thread brought forward to fix what appeared broken. As she speaks, the image floods Elora's mind with startling clarity. The quiet room, the careful stitches, the strange sensation she never understood. What was sewn, the prophetess declares, was not only clothes. The room feels colder. She explained that the sewing was a spiritual act, a sealing done deliberately using a spiritual thread to close what God has already opened. She says, what was sewn that day was not your wedding dress but your womb. Your womb has been sealed spiritually using a thread and a needle. Elora trembles as understanding what she's saying. The years of waiting, the unanswered prayers, the strain on our marriage, all it traces back to that single moment. Then comes the hardest truth. The one who did this, the prophetess says, is from within your husband's family. The mother-in-law, she continues, plainly. Elora feels as though the ground has shifted beneath her. The quiet hostility, the control, the words spoken over her marriage, and all of it finally makes sense. The betrayal is sharp, but so is the clarity. For the first time, Elora knows she was never the problem. Yet, the prophecy does not end in accusation. The prophetess lifts her voice gently and declares restoration. She announces that the spiritual seal will be broken, that Elora's womb will be open, and that she will conceive. Hope rises, not fragile this time, but firm and undeniable. Still, there is a warning. There will be justice, the prophetess says, but not reconciliation. Boundaries must remain. Healing will come through separation, not peacemaking. Elora nods through tears. She understands. When the service ends, she leaves the church changed. The burden of self-blame has lifted. In its place stands truth. Clear, painful, but freeing. For the first time in years, Elora walks forward, not as a woman waiting in confusion, but as one who knows what was done to her and what will now be undone. The truth does not arrive quietly. It sits between Daniel and Elora like a third presence in the room, heavy, undeniable. Elora tells him everything, not with anger, not with tears, just truth, spoken steadily as though she is finally strong enough to carry it aloud. She talks about the church, the prophetess, the wedding day. She describes the torn dress, the needle, the thread, details Daniel never mentions to everyone. At first, Daniel refused to believe it. This doesn't make sense, he says, pacing the room. My mother would not. She couldn't. But Elora keeps speaking, and with every word, Daniel's certainty wakens. I need to hear it from her, Daniel says at last. They go together. Mrs. Eunice received them without surprise, as though she has been expecting this moment. She listens as Elora speaks, her face unmoved, her posture relaxed. When Elora finally asks the question, "Why did you do it?" the room goes quiet. Mrs. Eunice does not deny it. Instead, she straightens. I warned you, she says calmly, looking at Elora. I told you not to marry my son. You refused to listen. Her words are sharp, unapologetic. She explained that she acted out of control, out of punishment, out of pride. In her mind, Elora deserved the suffering for disobeying her wishes. She speaks without remorse, without shame. Daniel feels something break inside him. For the first time, he stands fully beside his wife. He tells his mother she will no longer have access to their lives, their marriage, or their future. His voice shakes, but it does not falter. Mrs. Eunice erupts. Anger replaces composure. She shouts, curses, accuses. She refuses repentance, clinging to her bitterness even as her authority slips away. There is no apology, only rage. Daniel takes Elora's hand. They leave. The door closes behind them with a finality that echoes through the house. Mrs. Eunice is left alone in the silence she created. Her power broken, her pride intact, her son gone. Elora breathed deeply for the first time in years. Justice has begun, not with forgiveness, not with reconciliation, but with truth, boundaries, and separation. Elora returns to the church with steadiness she did not have before. Fear no longer leads her steps, clarity does. The prophetess meets her privately this time. There is no dramatic, no raised voice, only firm instruction. She speaks of fasting, of focused prayer, of obedience, and of distance. Certain doors she once closed must never be reopened. Elora listened closely, committing each word to heart. She understands now that restoration is not accidental, it is guided. When the prayers begin, the resistance is immediate. The prophetess does not stop. She prays directly against what was done on the wedding day. She named the act for what it was. She speaks as though addressing an unseen presence, commanding it to release what it was held for years. It feels as though something snapped, loosed inside Elora. The prayer vanishes, the pain dissolves. Elora collapsed forward, weak with exhaustion, tears soaking the floor beneath her. But beneath the weakness is something new, stillness, peace, a lightness she has never known. When she finally lifts her head, the prophetess looked at her calmly and declared that the sea has now been broken. Elora's womb is restored. But the prophetess is clear. This freedom must be protected. Boundaries must remain firm. The past must not be reinvited into the future. Elora leaves the church quietly. At home, Daniel noticed the change before she speaks. The air feels different. Elora moves differently, lighter, calmer, unbothered. Her eyes hold peace instead of apology. Their conversation flows easily for the first time in years, unshadowed by tension or blame. That night, they sit together in silence, not strange this time, but comfortable. Hope returns, not as desperation, but as assurance. One afternoon, with the house empty and sunlight slipping through the curtains, Elora stands alone in the bathroom, her hand trembling. She tells herself she's only shaking, that disappointment has already taught her how to survive. Still, when she looks down and sees the results, her breath catches. She sits on the floor, unable to move. Tears come, not sudden, not loud, but slow and steady, carried by disbelief and gratitude, all at once. This time it is real. A visit to the clinic confirms it. The doctor speaks, smiling, but Elora barely hears the word. Her heart is too full. Years of pain, blame, and silence dissolve into that single moment. Daniel's eyes fill with tears. He does not try to hide. Elora rests her head against his chest, feeling the steady breeze of a future she once feared she will never have. Elsewhere, the news travels quietly. Mrs. Eunice hears of the pregnancy from another voice in another place. There is no reunion, no apology, no softened hearts. Distance remained. The boundaries hold. Justice stand where reconciliation cannot. That night, Elora stands alone, her aunt resting gently on her stomach. She whispers a prayer, not for proof, not for vindication, but for protection, for peace, for life growing within her. Her joy is quiet now, guided, certain. What was sealed has been opened. What was broken has been restored, and life has returned. Hi besties. Hope you all enjoy the story. You see, this life, never ignore a place where you are clearly not wanted. When someone tells you directly or indirectly that they don't want you in their space, their family, or their future, it is not always pride speaking. Sometimes it is a warning. Not every door that is open is safe to walk through, and not every opposition is meant to be conquered. This story teaches us that rejection can be protection. Sometimes being unwanted is not always a verdict on your worth. It may be an early sign of danger. When resistance is persistent, hostile, and rooted in control, wisdom demands distance, not endurance. Ignoring such warnings can lead to years of silence, suffering, and listening to them can save you from battles you were never meant to fight. Sometimes the enemy does not come shouting no. It comes smiling. It comes offering help. When someone shows you they do not want you, believe them, not to prove them wrong, but to protect your peace, your destiny, and your future. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share. See you some other time. Bye.